So, not that long ago, I made a video where I used a handful of AI services to write up and voice act a weird little story. I had a lot of fun making that video, and I saw an opportunity to kind of further the story from where it already was. You can watch the first vid if you want an explanation for the processes that I used to make it, how I wrote the story, what I used to make assets and music and stuff for it. All the same stuff I'll be doing in this video, but as far as this video is concerned, we're just going to pick up with 3 characters who kind of broke off from the rest of the group about halfway through the previous adventure, and just see where AI Dungeon takes them. So AI Dungeon has this little feature that lets you tell it things that you want it to remember. So I started up a new story where I told it all of the important details that I thought it needed to know from the previous adventure going in. Sometimes it forgot like who was in jail or not, so it would sometimes plug in a character like Angel Dust into a scene where he had no business being. But other than correcting stuff like that, I let the AI just kind of write this whole story by itself, stemming from the first sentence that I provided. So also, I want to say the AI decides in this story to kind of liberally use a derogatory word for a houseless person. And I don't know how upsetting that would be for people, but I thought I would just let you all know to kind of expect that going in here. Anyway, here's the story. Mordecai, Spike, and Mike had stepped out into the strange, empty city of Nightfall to grab some booze. However, along the way, they'd gotten sidetracked.
Hey, Mordecai!
Spike says.
I think we should go back.
Yeah.
He says with a smile.
What?
Because I don't want to be here any more than you do. But if we're gonna stay in this town, we need to at least get our asses up off the ground.
What are you talking about? We're not even drunk yet.
Mordecai says.
We'll see when we get there.
Spike leads the group back to the hotel, where they promptly sit back down at their table.
Okay, you're a fucking asshole.
Mike says, shaking his head.
Why the hell did you bring us here?
Safety in numbers! Nerds!
Spike says.
Now that we're not taking any more risks, I think we need to leave here.
Where are Twilight and the others?
Mordecai wondered.
Did they leave without us?
I dunno. We'll find out when we get back to the room.
While they wait for everyone to get back, Spike admits to the rest of his plans.
So, thinking we'd blow up the bridge at night and just make our escape back, and that way,
Spike says.
we'd still be able to get away.
That's fucking dangerous, Spiky.
Mike says.
So's drinking untreated alcohol and going into the sewers.
Spike shrugs.
If you get us killed, you're not getting out of this alive.
Mordecai says.
I won't.
Spike says, sticking his tongue out. Everyone finishes their drinks and proceeds to go back to their room. On the way, they pass a bum who looks up at them, only for the group to quickly pass him by. He gets up and follows behind, though.
Hey! I saw that.
Spike says.
Let's get him.
No, we need to just leave him alone.
Mike says.
He's just following us.
Spike looks back, but the bum is already out of sight.
Fine!
Spike says.
I'm getting us banned from this town anyway.
Once they get to the room, Spike confronts the group.
What the fuck are you all doing?
Spike demands.
If you're gonna be lodging here, then you have to start following the rules.
What about?
Mike starts to ask before getting interrupted.
For example, you cannot go walking around with your booze. It's not proper hotel policy.
Fuck you, we're all grown-ups.
Mordecai says.
Have you seen what we were doing before you interrupted us? We were having a nice conversation about fictional explorers.
Fine, buy your own alcohol, but you can just go walking around drunk. That's called bottle flipping, and it's not all of here.
Can we get some pot when we go to town?
Mordecai asks.
We can smoke that indoors.
That's even worse.
Spike says.
You can't be doing that while our rooms are booked under an assumed name. We're supposed to be explorers, not some group of losers. Just use an abandoned hotel as a weed and acid lab.
We're not going to be here that long.
Mike says.
You can't expect us to not do anything.
It's just for a few days.
Spike says.
We'll be out soon. I promise. Now then, we need to figure out which alcohol is the safest to buy. We can't have any of our people getting sick now, can we?
The group begins to bicker, and before long, Spike can't even get them to agree on whether or not orange juice is a color. After an hour of arguing, Spike calls the group to stop.
You are all just going to have to get along.
He sighs.
Because I don't have time to fucking deal with this. One of you needs to step up and organize the rest of you, or I'm just going to find my own alcohol.
I'll do it.
Everyone looks around to see that it's come true.
You.
Spike asks.
Why not?
The bum asks.
I'm already there here and I'm not going to get much else done.
Smart choice.
Spike says.
All right then, it's settled. You're our new leader.
What?
The bum exclaims.
I'm not a fucking leader, I'm just a bum.
You are also a genius. Homeless man.
Spike says.
Now then, if you're going to go get us all groceries and a few other things we need, I'll organize the group while you're gone.
I have no idea how to do that.
You were a leader on the streets.
Spike says.
You knew how to organize people so that they do what you wanted.
I didn't get a fucking idiots.
Well, you have a dozen idiots now.
Spike says.
Just use some of your old tricks. It's not that hard.
The bum thinks for a second and then nods.
I'll see what I can do.
The bum says.
No, Ben, if you'll excuse me, I have to go find me a nice quiet spot to sit so I can think.
Of course.
Spike says.
I'll see you in a few days. Later.
The bum nods and leaves the room. Spike sighs and looks around at the group.
Well then, let's not fuck this up for him.
He says. The group disperses to go do its own thing, leaving Spike alone. He considers just going off and getting drunk, but then he decides that he should probably organize the alcohol better if the bum is going to be purchasing it. So he goes to go get the rest of the group. The next few days are relatively calm. Spike mostly just bothers the bum to see if he's organized the group yet. The bum tells him that his friends have been arrested.
Shit. Really?
Spike asks.
How the hell did they do that?
They didn't do it themselves.
The bum says.
Shadow got them into it. He's like that.
Is that so?
Spike asks.
Well, I guess you better get going then.
I have to sit here and wait for you. Can't you just go get them?
They're in fucking prison. And
Spike says.
I don't just go walking into it and start picking people up. If you want to get out of here so bad we can go do it, I currently not without a fight.
The bum thinks for a moment.
Fuck it.
He says.
I'll go get some food and then begin the journey to escape. I can't just sit here and wait to get arrested.
Alright,
Spike says.
just let me know when you're going. We can go from there.
The bum heads to the door, but before he leaves, Spike stops him.
Hey! Do you have anything that could get me in there? Like, when they arrest you, do they just slam your hands into cuffs or something?
Spike asks.
No, they just put you in cells.
The bum says.
I doubt if that would work for you anyway.
Damn!
Spike says.
Well, see you later then. And thanks
Thanks for what?
for not killing me and eating, among other things.
Of course, dude.
The bum says and leaves. Spike exhales and sits back down. A few minutes later, the bum comes back in, carrying a small knapsack.
Alright, then I'm off.
He says.
Hang on a second, let's go get some cuffs.
Spike says. The bum looks at him, confused.
What for?
The bum asks.
You don't think you can just pick me up and throw me in a cell by yourself, do you?
No,
Spike says.
I meant to throw you in there with the handcuffs so I can cuff you to the fucking cell bars.
Ow!
The bum says.
You've got those here, but they're kind of rare and hard to get. I don't have many on man. It'd be a real hassle to get more.
Fine.
Spike puts the knapsack down and goes over to a corner of the room. He comes back with a pair of handcuffs, which he puts into the bum's hand.
Here,
He says.
Z's instead.
Thanks.
The bum says.
I guess this is goodbye, Spanky.
Not likely.
Spike says.
See you, you bastard.
You see you.
The bum says as he heads out the door. Spike stares after him for a second before walking back to the saunter of the room.
Well, that went about as well as could be expected.
He says to himself.
I guess I better get started on this on my own.
Spike spends the next few days sleeping and eating, only waking up to eat when the bum comes in to feed him. He spends most of his time in his dream world, thinking about his future. He doesn't really have one. He's done pretty much all he ever wanted to do. He's rich, seen the world, got everything he could want. What more could a guy want? Sure, he could still try to achieve more, but for now, he's lived a good life. If he's honest with himself, he's been a little bored lately. Not in his regular life, of course. There's always something exciting to do, but his regular life has been lacking something. A challenge, perhaps? He could start a war with the Cancor Union. It'd be an adventure, something different. He could also leave this place, go someplace new. The world is out there, just waiting to be seen. He could start a new life. He's probably a lot more skilled now than the average citizen of New Dessel, and he could use those skills to make a better life for himself somewhere else. He glances at his treasure trove. Sure, it's mostly worthless now. He could start all over again, though. Still, he needs to do something, because sitting around doing nothing is starting to bore him. He could go for a last bit of adventure, though. There's still so much he's never done. The bum has said before that there's a monastery of some sort up in the mountains. He's never been there, so that might be a good place to start his next adventure. He spends the rest of his day and night thinking on his future plans. But first, he has to free his friends from prison. The next day, Spike packs up his few belongings. He keeps his knapsack for this purpose, and heads to the front desk of the jail. He manages to catch the attention of a guard who comes over. The guard asks,
I'm looking for the person who arrested my friends.
What?
You know who I'm talking about. I'm here to free them.
The guard thinks for a second.
I haven't listening. If you know what happened to your friends, I suggest you go to the captain of this station.
Thanks.
Spike says as he walks away. The guard, however, decides to follow Spike.
Hello, you idiot. It's been a long time, but it's good to see you again.
Is there a problem?
Spike asks.
Not at all. It's Joss. You seem a little familiar. You go by a different name now.
Spike pauses for a second.
Yeah, I do.
When Spike arrives at the captain's office, it is empty. He takes a seat and waits patiently. Soon, the captain enters his office.
You look like him.
Do I?
Yes, you're him. The guy who took the fall for a crime you didn't commit.
You know who I am.
Spike asks in surprise. He remembers this guy.
No, you are. We get a lot of justice here. Generals come see us. Your fame travels even here.
In what way?
We know you're the guy that begged Flock. The guy that took out Black Fang. The guy that saved the city from the wolves.
Well, now I'm here to free my friends that you've locked up.
Oh, you're a friend of Shadow's. We should have known. How come you never told us you had friends we might have released before now?
Spike gets angry.
Will you stop with the fucking mystery tour? I came here to save my friends. Not waste my time talking to a fucking idiot.
The captain calms down.
All right, sorry. You're right, friend mine. Just surprised is all.
Good.
Spike says as he gets up to leave.
But one thing, you're Shadow the Hedgehog's friend.
Spike turns to him.
Yes.
Good. We'll make sure to get his friends out as well.
The captain takes Spike to the holding cells. To his surprise, Mordecai and Mike are there talking to the others.
There you are, Spiky. We're getting out of here.
Wait, what? You're saying you will get us out of here?
Ginny asks.
Yeah. Don't ask questions. Just glad to see you too.
The captain comes back and says that all of them are free to go.
What about that guy?
Spike asks, nodding to the flunky still sitting in a chair.
That's someone to take care of that.
The captain says, walking away.
What the hell did you do that for?
Spike asks in disbelief.
I did what I had to now. All of you.
The friends are stunned. Spike realizes the captain's trying to save his own ass by making them all disappear. But it hardly matters now. He thanks the captain anyway and the group leaves.
Well, that was a bit surprising.
Mike says.
You'll never believe what I saw.
Angel says.
You won't believe where I went.
Ginny says. Their babbling continues, but Spike has to ask.
So, how do you want to handle this?
What do you mean?
Our names are going to be clear thanks to that captain, but now everyone's going to be expecting us to return the favor. How do you want to handle that?
Mordecai looks at Spike.
What the hell? You think we are lots? We need to return the favor?
I see your point. Do we know who to ask for?
Mordecai looks at his fellow E supervillains.
Hey guys,
They look over.
do any of you owe that Shadow guy a favor?
They all shake their heads. Eventually one does.
Yeah? I guess I do. Stupid huh?
Ginny says, walking over.
Stupid as if you want to know the truth.
Spike mutters. Ginny hands Shadow a small notebook. It contains the number of the person she owes the favor to.
Thanks, kid. See ya.
Shadow nods and leaves. Spike shakes his head.
What the hell's that all about?
Dunno, but let's get home.
So that's where we're going to leave off for now. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. And if you'd like to see more stories generated in this manner, I think they're a lot of fun. I really enjoy seeing the AI kind of do its thing, make its own weird little stories, even if they don't make sense most of the time. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.